Those Were the Days is filmed before a live internet audience.
You are about to enter another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of memory. One as vast as the television screen and as timeless as the shows that once graced it. It is the middle ground between nostalgia and the present, between the past and the ever-advancing future. It is the place where we step back in time and explore the classic shows that continue to captivate our hearts and minds. So sit back, relax, and prepare to take a journey that defies the boundaries of time and space. You've just crossed over into Those Were the Days. I'm Travis, and I'll be guiding you through tonight's episode, but I can't do it alone. I need my co-hosts, and together, we will take you on this journey. Sitting on the couch while he cracks and eats a bowl of walnuts, it's Audie.
Buzz Lightyear mission log. We've been invited to a fellow child's house. Her name is Christy. We've noticed several strange things about this house. All the other toys refuse to come alive when the non-toy people leave. All except a doll who calls herself Tina. She keeps saying she's in charge of the house, that all are under her rule. Christy's mom does seem to treat Tina more special than I've seen any human handle a toy. Tina even winks sometimes directly at her. There's talking between Christy and her mom about a past father, all in hushed tones, especially when Tina is close. I have my suspicions, but it will require further investigation. We saved plenty of toys, but I've never had to contemplate saving humans. I wish Woody was here. Mission log out.
Amazing.
Confused by how his new doll's voice sounds exactly like Rocky the Squirrel, it's Steven.
All right, riders. This week we need a disgruntled stepfather that's really grumpy, but we haven't figured out what he's grumpy about. He needs to be very testy. He's got a lot of bark but no bite, like shooting blanks. I'm telling you, he's got to have a temper you wouldn't want to reproduce. The guy would take his daughter's brand new toy on a whim, he's so ballsy. Any ideas?
And steering full on into her paranoia that her new Warhammer figures she bought are plotting to do her bodily harm, it's Amy.
Men will literally let their insecurities about their infertility manifest in the form of a murderous living doll belonging to their stepdaughter rather than go to therapy.
Amy and I were on the same page with that one.
Yes.
That's very happy.
Tonight, we are exploring, it's spooky season. Halloween, as we record this, is tomorrow night. And so, for that, we're going to step into the Twilight Zone. And this was an episode of the Twilight Zone called The Living Doll. This is from season 5, so the final season of the Twilight Zone. It aired on November 1st, 1963. So very close to when we're recording this.
Yeah.
It stars Telly Savalas as Eric Streeter, Mary LaRoche as his wife, Annabelle Streeter, and his stepdaughter, Christy Streeter, played by Tracy Stratford, and also the voice of June Foray as Talky Tina. So we've covered an episode of The Twilight Zone before.
We sure did.
Yeah, we did.
My very good, feel-good Christmas episode.
I loved it.
Yes. And so we've talked a little bit about the Twilight Zone, but for those who don't remember that, or to refresh everybody's memory, the Twilight Zone was an anthology series that ran from, I believe it started in 1958 and ran until 1963 initially. It's been rebooted a couple of times. There was a 1980s revival, and then one again just a few years ago by Jordan Peele. There was a Twilight Zone movie made in the 80s. It was a whole thing. The intro to the Twilight Zone is part of the cultural zeitgeist.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
The voice of Rod Serling is indelible. And this was one of the higher rated episodes of the series. And what I love about, fantasy, sci-fi, horror, I talk about this a lot on shows and in conversations, works so well in an anthology setting because short stories, these fantasy style stories work so well in a short story format because you don't need a 3-act structure. You don't need a lot of like crazy character development or anything like that. It can just be here's a napkin idea, make that. It can be
And you don't
5
have to
pages long.
you don't have
Mhm.
to tie up all of the loopholes. Like, 'cause it
Mhm.
doesn't matter. Like, we
Mhm.
don't care. It doesn't matter that that part is impossible. Don't worry about it. It's over there, and we're not over there.
Yeah.
We're not going over there.
Yeah.
No one has to go over there. It's
No.
great.
Don't even
Mhm.
look over there.
Exactly.
Over there
Don't even
doesn't
look over
exist.
there.
Yeah. We're at now.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And it works so well for a TV series too because like this episode takes place on what 3 sets.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
was it was a living room, dining room, a
Yep.
bedroom, and then his workroom sort of
Creepy
Garage,
workshop of
basement
torture.
thing. And it has 4 characters. It has 4 actors in the whole thing. One of whom is just a voice. So like it's cheap to produce. So for television, it's great. And I love it too because it can explore a lot of stuff and you can layer. Like Serling was great about layering in all sorts of subtext and all sorts of, especially like his thoughts and views on sort of society and the world at large into his stories and into the stories that got told in the Twilight Zone. Because again, it's fantasy or horror or sci-fi, whatever it is. So you can get away with a lot more because it's all allegory. And this was I think actually kind of a cool episode. So let's break down what happens in this episode because it's a fairly simple plot. Mom and daughter come home from a shopping trip, and stepdad, it's very important, is
Mhm.
sitting there. Stepdad played by Telly Savalas, which I'm sorry, I just love that. Telly Savalas is great. And he finds out that they got a new doll while it was out. And of course, Christine's got enough dolls. She doesn't need another one. And it's a big deal. He's all upset that she got another doll. It costs money.
Put it on the account.
Yeah.
That was great.
Mhm.
We talked about this, Annabelle.
I
was
love
a
though.
lot.
It's just like her immediate reaction was, "I put it on the account." Well, how much was it? I put it on the account.
Yeah.
Like
Now, see,
you don't.
here's the thing, right? Whatever happened to Christy's dad, Annabelle's been through this before. Annabelle's got her own bank account. I'm telling you that, like, she's big. She knows
Yeah.
what's up.
Yeah. She's
She's
stashing cash
back
away
on. She
just
makes a
for.
choice later that I disagree with, but yeah, she's got this handled.
Mm-hmm.
So Christine pulls out the new doll, and it's the Talky Tina doll. And this doll, you can wind the key, and it says stuff. Mostly, it just says, "I'm Talky Tina, and I love you very much."
Mm-hmm.
That is until he tells her, what is it? He says to her to shut that thing up or whatever, and Christine gets upset and runs upstairs to her room. Her mom goes to console her. When he picks up the doll, it doesn't say, "I'm Talky Tina and I love you very much." No. It tells him that she doesn't like him very much.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think I like you.
Yeah. Me neither,
And,
Talky
gets-
Tina.
I feel you, girl.
Yeah.
So as the episode goes along, every time he is alone with the doll, it gets more and more aggressive towards him. Eventually saying things like, "I hate you," and "I'm going to kill you, and you'll be sorry." So after dinner one night, that night, he takes it and throws it away. And when Christine can't find her doll, she goes to bed upset. Her mom goes to console her again. And then the phone rings. And when he answers it, it's Talky Tina on the phone.
Oh.
Okay, but before we get too far, the best part is his outburst when they get home with Tina. He's like, she doesn't need another doll. It's like, well, no, it's a good friend for her to play with. Yeah, because we can't have kids of our own.
The biggest logical
was-
leap ever.
Wow.
Like, slow down.
Dude, it's fine. And then the whole thing about, like, there's a little back and forth about the, like, I know you got more than you bargained for. It's not like she was a surprise,
Yeah,
Annabelle.
what was that all about?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
no.
Like,
He
dude,
knew.
were you mail
she
order?
married you.
What
Right.
did you?
Apparently, she's okay with it.
It's
Yeah,
arranged marriage. Like,
right.
you're going to marry this
I know.
guy to take care of you and the girl, but I'd tell him about the girl. And you're getting married in
You know,
blindfolds
yeah,
at the courthouse.
she would have been fine if they could have had their own kids.
Yeah, everybody
Right.
would have been
Clearly,
great.
he's the one who's broken, obviously. So
Mhm.
therapy, sir, and that's the
Yeah.
best part because whatever happened with Christy's dad, she's in therapy because
Oh,
he
yeah.
brings that up. He's like, yeah, that Freudian nonsense that it's like
Why would you marry this guy? He's a tool.
he's
Yeah.
such a dick.
I hate him so much.
that is the interesting thing is later on when she's like, I don't know you anymore or whatever. When she's getting ready to leave,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, is this new? Like, did this just happen within the last week or two? Because I doubt it. I'm pretty sure this guy has been this much of a dick the whole time you've been married to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because very early in
So-
my notes, I wrote down, "I'm on Tina's side. Whatever
Mhm.
happens to Eric,
Man.
that can come in and
I mean,
deserve it.
Tina,
I don't care."
Tina, babe, you need thumbs? I got you.
Whatever you want, Tina.
Yeah.
So his first attempt to throw the doll away, he just throws it into a trash can. Then he gets the phone call. He goes to check the trash can and it's empty. There's no doll in there. And he goes and finds the doll in bed with Tina.
Or with
And the doll
Christy.
starts,
With Christy.
Christy, yeah.
or with, yes, Tina is in the bed with Christine.
Yeah.
And Tina starts talking again, telling Christine to wake up. That's when he flips out again, grabs the doll, and takes it to his torture chamber in the back of the house.
He's some kind of psycho.
He's got his like inverted table saw. It's like a chop saw. That was honestly, I loved that part where he tries to saw the head off of the doll, and
He
of
puts
course
the
it
vice
just
first.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
But he puts
Oh,
it
Like,
in
I
a
thought
vice
you had
first.
feelings. I can go as long as you can. And
Yeah,
part-
the doll's
with
the doll's taunting
The torch
him.
was my favorite because it just keeps going out. But your brain does imagine Tina being like,
You're just blowing it out.
every time it
Mhm.
comes up.
I just like that
Tina
his
is
torches
causing
and
the
everything
torch.
were all set up for him, just in case he needed to torture a small toy. He had it all there.
Or you never know when late night welding is going to happen.
Never
You
put
just
your
gotta be
torch
prepared.
away, or turn the
No.
gas off. Just go ahead and leave it on the
Right.
table, just for lighting your cigarettes later.
Just leave it next to your unsecured firearm, and everything
Yeah.
will be great.
It's fine.
So he puts it in a vice. He tries to torch it. It doesn't work. He sets it into the miter saw and tries to
Yeah.
saw the head off of it, which also doesn't work.
So many
While this is
sparks.
going on, Annabelle comes into the room to get his attention, and he just dismisses her and like shoves her out of the room.
And then
So
it was the smartest move. This was so good. I was so happy to see this because she's in the bedroom packing.
Yes,
Yeah.
but before we get to that,
Yeah.
he attempts with the saw, doesn't work, just makes sparks. So he takes the doll, he puts that doll into a literal potato sack.
Mhm.
That was one of my notes I wrote down. Like, it's literally a potato sack. I am so
Mhm.
happy. Wraps rope around that and puts it in the
Around
trash
its
can.
neck.
Around its neck.
Yep.
That's a good point.
I was ready for him to like put one of those like cinder blocks in and go take it out to the river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was what I was kind of expecting to happen
But he did lay the cinder blocks on
on
top.
top.
So there's no way that doll can get out, right? And then goes to find Annabelle, who's in the bedroom packing because she's leaving.
Damn
She's
straight.
done with this guy.
Annabelle, though, girl, you did not need your whole wardrobe. You could have just like grab a toothbrush and go. You do not
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
pack for.
You need a go
everything.
bag for when you're married to an
that-
idiot like this.
Yeah.
Yes.
It needs to have
you
a
didn't
gun
need
in
all
it,
your
a
day
pair of
dresses.
underwear, and a toothbrush.
Yeah.
Maybe some Rice Krispie treats, Hershey bar,
Yeah.
granola, and then you
Yeah.
hightail it out of there.
Sensible shoes.
Sensible
Mhm.
shoes, yeah. You got to make sure. Or in this day and age, you need your heels for when you walk into the courthouse because they won't respect you if you walk in flats.
No.
Telling you,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
Click.
yeah. Maybe you should just go back to your husband, lady.
So he talks to her and eventually says, "What if I give the doll back? Will everything be okay?" Because she's just like, "No, you need to go see a psychiatrist and blah blah blah." So he goes and he gets the doll, which is still talking to him. It's still just giving him the business. And I love the moment where he takes the doll and he's like, just shut up. And but he goes and he gives it back to Christine. Then that night, as he's sleeping, he hears the gears of
So
Talky Tina
creepy.
making noise. And he gets up and he goes to investigate. And Annabelle's like, what's going on? Don't worry about it. Just go back to
I
sleep.
heard something.
And he goes and he finds the doll. Or he goes to look for the doll in the bed, goes into Christine's room, no doll. Weird. Leaves, goes to go downstairs, I guess, because apparently that's where maybe the sound is coming from. The doll is on the stairs. He steps on the doll and goes flying down the stairs, tumbling down, which was another one of my notes is you can clearly see the doll go flying with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At one point, it got caught like on his foot. So when he went just, feet overhead, that doll went
Yeah, oh,
soaring.
yeah.
But then we see the doll roll down the stairs next to him. When all this commotion happens, Annabelle comes out to check on it and sees Eric at the bottom of the stairs, runs down to see, and he's not responsive.
Yeah.
And Tina is right there next to him. And then the eyes open up,
Mhm.
and Mom picks up the doll, and the doll tells her, "You need to be nice to me too." Something like that,
Ooh,
right? It was
yeah.
like,
And you better be nice to me.
Yeah, you better be
and
nice.
you'd better be nice to me. And that's the episode. It's
That
a very
was creepy.
simple episode, and it's so good. And then you get the outro from Rod Serling, which I do love. It's like, obviously dolls can't talk, and they can't murder. But blah, 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 blah. Except for Talky Tina, who did talk and did murder. And I was like,
Yeah.
so good.
That's good.
Rod Serling.
Thank you, Rod, for not making me more afraid of toys.
Yeah.
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 Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Rod, for creating my irrational fear of dolls. I appreciate that.
And inspiring
Uh,
countless clones of this story
Oh,
over
yeah.
and over
Mhm.
and over of murderous
Mhm.
toys.
And it wasn't just Rod Serling. I do want to give credit to Jerry Soule and Charles Beaumont, who were also credited writers on this. Although Jerry Soule was uncredited in the episode, but he apparently came up with the idea for this in like an afternoon.
Wow.
I mean,
Nice.
yeah.
That's your job,
can
though,
see that.
man. Just to sit there and be like,
Yeah.
what if a fork came to life and tried to stab a guy in the hand? And then they're like, no, that's not
Like,
cool.
all right, well,
What
let's
if a
let's
doll
keep going.
came to life and stabbed a guy? Yeah.
Did you
like-
know that he just like tripped on his kid's doll and
Uh-huh.
almost fell down the stairs? I was like, hang on.
Yeah, I got
something
an
here.
idea. That's what
How-
people
He
do.
wrote the whole story to get to the point where he almost tripped and died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Rod Serling would often use real
Right.
life stuff to inspire
Mhm.
these
Mhm.
stories. Like they were often based on his military experience and his time as a pilot and all this other stuff that he would use to build these stories or to throw out the ideas and develop
Sure.
it into something. It's
Mhm.
what we all do, you know.
One of the things I like about an episode like this is the simple thing of making Telly Savalas the stepfather in
Yeah.
this situation and giving us no context as to how that relationship began. We don't know if Christine's dad is just not in the picture or if he died. The assumption is he probably died because
I'm thinking
divorce
he
wasn't
died.
exactly popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're not given any of that context. It's just he's the stepfather, which immediately puts him in an adversarial relationship somehow, because that's how step
Well,
parents were
except that
portrayed in
he
media.
didn't even but he even calls that out though. He's like, "Oh, so I'm the stepfather, so I couldn't possibly love her, right?"
Mhm.
Is that what you're saying? Because
He's so
she's just like,
insecure.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And he gets so sweaty.
Yeah, he does. And then you
Well,
can
I
almost
mean-
see how all this came together. Like, so Annabelle's husband dies in a tragic accident. And she's like, oh no, my daughter needs a father figure. I'll go to the church or the local moose club. And when he goes to the moose club, the guy at the door says, oh, you're a single mother. Maybe you should talk to Eric. He's an
He's
established.
somehow still unmarried.
Yeah, he's unmarried and he's a good man, roughly 48 years old, can provide for you and your daughter. And she's like, okay. And then she just, in desperation, decides I can put up with whatever this guy can do to me to provide my daughter a house and a home and all this stuff. because my husband died without life insurance, and we don't know what we're gonna do. That's the way. That's what I built in my head anyway. And that's how
I
she
like
got
that.
stuck in
That's
this
good.
crap relationship with Eric Streeter, the local moose head captain, or whatever you are when you're at the moose club. I don't really know what they are.
Also, you're not far off. Telly Savalas was about 41 when they made this episode.
Booyah!
There you go.
So
With the power
apparently he
donut.
went bald at like 16.
Yeah, making this check. You know,
All
bald is
right, all
beautiful.
right. I have my
Ace
own
is the Grand
fiction.
Pumbaa. That's what he is. The
Yes,
Grand Pumbaa of
yes.
the Moose Lodge.
I've got my own layer on top of this, and my own layer is that he's not infertile, but Annabelle's on the pill, which was invented 3 years earlier. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing this again.
Not with you.
No, thank you.
Like I got roped into this relationship,
We're
but
not doing
nope.
this again. I'm not gonna get tied down, that's for sure.
No, but this
I
guy, I'm
give
going to get
Annabelle a lot of
Annabelle to
credit.
college, and then I'm out, baby.
Yeah.
Yep, get Christine off out of the house when she's 18. I'm out.
Yeah.
I really liked though having that that part of it, like him as the stepfather. He is incredibly insecure, and he's
Oh,
not a
yeah.
likable character at all. Like from the get go, he's not likable.
No.
He's very just crass and angry with everyone for unknown reasons, which again I kind of like that we don't have any reason for, because it really doesn't matter. He's just he's not a good dude. And if you were to stretch this out, yeah, you might be able to do like, oh, some sort of tragic reason for him to be like that. But it works better to just have him, and then to have the play on like the psychology of it and the psychological part of things. Is this doll actually saying stuff, or is this dude just cracking under the pressure? Like, what is going on here? I like doing that all the way through, right up until the end where the doll speaks to the mom.
Yeah.
But I love that because it makes for some great moments, like when he's just sitting at the table and looks over and the doll winks at him,
Yeah.
but no one else sees it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he sets the doll on the table and starts lighting a cigarette right in front of it. Because it's the 60s, you could smoke on TV back then.
Yeah.
You could
And
smoke anywhere back then.
Yeah, you couldn't share a bed.
Right.
That's very
Mhm.
convenient though, because then you only need twin size sheets for everyone. So that
That's-
that does make it more convenient.
Yeah, and if you drink too much and pee the bed, only one person is inconvenienced.
Yeah. Yep.
But I like too, like we don't know what he does for a living, so we don't know what kind of, we don't
He's
need
an
any kind of
accountant.
context.
He's
like,
an accountant, Travis. He's a numbers guy. I'm telling you. The minute she walks through the door and he's in his little money counting workbench desk thing with the telephone on it, I'm surprised. It's just black and white, so he can't tell that there's a little green lamp on the desk.
Yeah.
So he can cook his books.
he's got one of the green accounting visors.
Yeah, and she walks in, he immediately is like, how much was that thing? Like, see, he's got a spreadsheet, the quarterly budget for the family. Dude's an accountant. Or in finance of some kind.
Yeah.
He needs a hobby of some kind, or needs to like pick up watching
he
TV instead of
He
just
Obviously.
he welds
Oh,
or
yeah.
reloads weaponry or something out there. Like,
Yeah.
dude knows what's up. He's a gunsmith. You just don't get to see that
and
part.
and when he's not doing that, he just eats entire bowls of walnuts
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty good. I just
after dinner. By the way, that was his after
Yeah.
dinner snack.
yeah.
I mean, I can remember growing up having like the big bowl of mixed
yeah.
nuts,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
not just walnuts. Like,
Hey, I think there were other things in there because there's
Were
like
there?
some little
I-
hazelnuts in there and stuff. Yeah.
okay,
I'm
that would
pretty
make more
sure.
sense, because just a bowl of walnuts, like your mouth is going to be just the Sahara.
I mean,
So
I
dry.
did
Those.
I did snicker that the guy who was just complaining about his infertility is just sitting there cracking nuts. It did me. I couldn't. I was like, that's just too much. It's too much, Telly. Back it up. I can't. It's too much.
What do you do
not-
if you're
It's not an accident.
What if you do if you're a viewer and you're like, you are Eric Streeter as a person? Like you're watching this
Yeah.
show and you see yourself because he's such a butthole. And it wasn't abnormal for people to be drunk buttholes in the 50s because we had, there wasn't a lot on TV. So
Yeah.
you just, you had a hard youth. What happens to somebody who watches a show like they're like, oh man,
two different reactions, Steven. One,
Yeah.
they don't see it at all, and they're just like, whatever.
Right.
Or two, they see it.
Look at
and they're
that
just with
guy.
him the whole time. They're like, yeah, that sounds about right. You tell him, Eric.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. Everybody's so mad at the guy. He's just keeping his wife in line. Get me another sandwich, honey. What a time to be alive.
Make sure you drink all your scotch.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Why does this scotch taste like cyanide? Don't worry about it, honey.
Don't worry about it.
So we chose to do this for spooky season, and Stephen, you mentioned it already. Like, this has been influential. This episode was influential in so many stories of evil dolls.
Mhm.
And evil dolls were not new when this was a thing. Like, that goes back even further and creepier dolls than
'Cause
Talky
they're
Tina.
just creepy.
Porcelain.
Yeah, just dolls are creepy.
Yeah.
But this definitely influenced things like Child's Play
Mhm.
Mhm.
and all sorts of stuff like that. There was another one I remembered, but I can't think of the title of it now. But to take the idea of the evil talking doll, and it's so simple and distilled here, and then to run with it the way that they have, so you get things like Child's Play. Megan is another one. Megan's the 21st century version of that.
Yeah, like small soldiers and stuff. Like, it's not creepy, but it was toys come to life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
To, like, do
Audie
stuff.
nailed it with his intro in Toy Story.
Yeah,
I love that. That was
exactly.
a great illusion. It shows you how influential a show like this was, and how many. I mean, and how wide ranging it could be, because this is very much psychological horror going on, right? This guy's cracking and losing his marbles over a doll that doesn't do anything. Now, it does
Mhm.
eventually kill him by
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or does
just
it?
let-
I mean,
Incapacitates him. We
well,
don't
true.
really know. He's probably dead.
But-
That's fine.
No, Rod said
But
it. Dude.
it-
He's dead.
Oh, he's
but
dead.
it doesn't.
will be
Oh,
when
yeah, because
Annabelle's
murder. The
Yeah.
doll
Yeah.
murders, so he's definitely dead. But
Murdered.
maybe the insurance policy's on him, and now Annabelle can live a happy life. I mean, the house goes to her. You know,
Yeah.
she ain't got to worry about nothing anymore, other than the
Except
alibi.
Tina.
Like, I was in bed, I promise. 'Cause
And it's just amazing because, like, you can do so much with so little visually, right? It all ends up being in the viewer's head as to
I
what's
was going
going
to
on
say,
as well.
like, something about this episode that I noticed specifically is how well television that was black and white at the time, how well they use that medium
Mm-hmm.
to tell their story. Like, it's something you notice, I noticed specifically with comics and somebody who knows how to do black and white comics really
Mhm.
well to use those dark spots when you really need it. And I noticed in this episode, when it was dark in very specific places and only just enough light in very specific places. Like, they knew what they were doing with the lighting and everything with what they had and what they could do.
Yeah.
yeah,
And I mean,
The
this
sh-
was in 1963, so color television existed by this point.
it just wasn't
A little
prevalent enough for people,
No.
for the studios to worry. For most shows, it wasn't
Mhm.
too common. Like, there's one shot, Audie, you're talking about the lighting and everything, of the doll of Talking Tina on the trash can or in the room, one or the other. She's sitting up, and like the light just looks so awesome of him walking in the door and
Mhm.
her. They're the only things lit on the
Mhm.
screen. I'm like, man, that's where we get all these tricks from. Like this, they do that stuff in horror movies now. It's all
Yeah.
about
Oh,
where
yeah.
it's gonna draw your
Right.
eye, and like I swear the Twilight Zone knew what to do, and they had far less colors and ways to call out things. It's just temperature.
And you think too, like, budgeting and time constraints, they don't have a whole lot of time to film stuff like this, which is why you write a very simple story with 3 characters and a doll.
Mhm.
And then you can record some audio for the doll, and that's it. And you never leave the house, so it's all inside. It's all very simple, and the doll doesn't have to do anything. And that's the brilliance of it with the psychological aspects of things. Is you don't have to have any special effects. You don't have
Yeah.
to worry about anything looking
Mhm.
weird or dated, because it's all playing out in this dude's head
Mhm.
while we're watching it, and the doll can be in a completely inert object. And and yet it's also malevolent and the primary antagonist, and it's perfect. Like it's
Which
so
is even
well done.
more kudos to Telly Savalas for just selling you on that.
Yeah.
You know, for the actor in whatever episode it is, just diving into it and going for it and selling you
Mhm.
on whatever weirdness is happening. Like he did a great job. Could tell.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Telly
Huge fan.
Savalas is great.
And talking about the budget and
Um,
stuff, like this, the sets too, mostly reusable. I mean, I swear I've
Yeah.
seen that entryway a million times in some other show or some other anthology. Same thing with the
Mhm.
dining room. The garage is a little weird. I don't know where that what they use that for, but they can dress that up any way they want. So it makes it
Mhm.
really easy to be like, hey,
You're just on the lot, like, all
yeah,
right, what we
Yeah.
got for living rooms? Yeah, all right.
yeah. They just put. I mean
Doesn't
that
matter.
I'm trying to think. I recognize that stairway entryway design from somewhere. You know, they use
Mhm.
the same
Well,
things over and over.
they used it again in this season of the Twilight Zone in season 5. They used that exact
Yeah,
set in Ring a Ding Girl was the
yeah, and
episode.
put up a different picture, like portrait
Yeah,
in the
Mhm.
entryway, like a whole different room.
because I mean, at the time, like suburbia, all the houses are basically the
Yeah,
same,
they all, yeah.
so it's easy to get
Yeah.
away with.
Yeah, they all look
Um,
like that.
and I just love short, effective horror like this because it's so cool to me to see uh, that kind of thing play out in a short form like this. And because it makes me do is it makes me want to like expand that. I want to see more adventures of Talky Tina. Is
Yeah,
this the only one? Are there other Talky Tinas causing problems? Like there, you could really like. There's a lot of directions you could go in with a story like this as your starting point.
Yeah.
That could be really cool to do from a horror standpoint.
the
That I think
Talking
would be a lot
Tina
of fun.
Saturday morning cartoon on CBS.
And we saw, I mean, obviously some of the adaptations and things that were inspired by it kind of give us some of that. But I just, that's what's cool about it. And that's what I love about the Twilight Zone as a medium of spooky or speculative fiction, you know.
Mhm.
And it shows too the range that you can get because this is very much psychological horror. But the Night of the Meek that we watched about a year ago for as a Christmas episode, very, very different.
Mhm.
Still that speculative fiction, but a very different type of story, let alone kind of it's just a whole different genre of storytelling, but same show. And that's
Mhm.
one of the cool things about this show. And it's just amazing that it was because I always think of the Twilight Zone, the original, being on for so long. It was 5 seasons, which is not short because they were longer seasons. I think season 1 was like 39 episodes or something.
Holy cow!
Boom.
But I just feel like it was kind of always on because I can remember watching reruns of it growing up and the 80s version and kind of all of that. So it just feels like it's always been around, even though it really initially only ran for 5 years. So it's just kind of cool. This was a fun episode to watch too. Um, and I can see why it's one of the higher rated
Oh, yeah.
episodes of the
Well, I mean,
series. Because go
I
ahead.
watched it several weeks ago when we first planned on, recording the show. I haven't rewatched it. I didn't need to. Like, it is still stuck in my brain. Like I didn't feel the need to rewatch it at all. Just looking over my notes, looking over the summary, I was like, "Yep, I remember. Yep, that's what happened. Oh,
Oh,
I
also
mean, yeah.
fun little
Oh, go
fun
ahead.
little tidbit is that June Foray did the voice of Talky Tina, and Talky Tina was based on a real doll at the time called Chatty Cathy,
Yep.
and June Foray did the voice for Chatty Cathy. So
Yeah.
Well done.
if you were if it, that is an extra layer of something where if you're watching this in 1963 and you see that doll and you hear that voice and you've got one of those in your house,
Yeah.
I'm now looking at that thing sideways, thinking, all
Yeah.
right,
Yep.
we have an understanding and we're going to keep that understanding, but you start talking back to me and it's into the river with you.
Hey
Mhm.
Rod, Mattel's on the phone. They say they can't sell any more of their chatty cappies.
And then like at one point when Christy was talking, I was like, she sounds really familiar. But I mean, like little kids all kind of sound the same. She's Lucy Van Pelt in a Charlie Brown Christmas.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Snap.
I read that
I kind
after
of thought she
watching the
was
episode.
Charlie Brown's little sister,
Say, Sally.
Sally.
Sally. I thought she sounded like Sally, but the Lucy.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
she was so
fair.
nice in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It
good.
does make me wonder too if there was a real world impact, if there actually was a drop in sales for Chatty Cathy's after this episode.
If it was,
I have
if
no.
it happened today, there'd be an increase.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
everybody would
Well,
have to
yeah,
have one.
that'd
You're
be,
like, oh no, we gotta
be
have
crazy.
one.
We've embraced the macabre
Yeah,
these
just
days.
please, just be taken out by a creepy doll is probably one of the better options. Like, let's go.
You're
Flood,
not wrong.
famine, creepy doll murder. I know which one of those I'd
Yeah.
choose.
Yeah.
I mean, at least all you're doing is
Story.
falling down a flight of stairs and snapping your neck. Like, it's over with quickly.
Oh no, I'm
Yeah.
gonna duct tape a pistol in her hands or something. Aim straight and true, Tina.
You're just handing her the torch. Just,
Yeah,
Just end it.
end it.
just whatever. Make it quick. Don't play around.
Oh, I like to like that we have literally no context for how she could have come to have any, if any, like actual sentience, and that's great.
Mhm.
Yeah, it
that's
just makes it scarier. Not knowing makes it creepier.
Yeah, is it just her, just that particular talking Tina, or do they all have some sort of unlocked murderous
Yeah.
streak when they encounter a mean stepdad?
Was she the? Did she just happen to be the one that some voodoo person put their best friend who just died into, or
Yeah,
Or is it
company.
is it a thing, like, is there something in the house, right? It's that thing where,
Yeah.
paranormal activity is usually connected to young children, specifically young girls that are going through emotional turmoil. So maybe there's a ghost in the house, and it was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go in this doll, and now you're done."
yeah.
But
Maybe it's
dude,
Eric
I see
Streeter's
what you
previous
do.
family. He buried them under the floor when he couldn't have children again.
Yeah.
Couldn't have
Again.
a second child, so I buried my first wife and the other child in the floorboards.
Yeah.
And there was a thing about how Christy and Tina are both nicknames for Christina, and
Yeah.
so
Mm.
there's interpretations that it was Christy like manifesting things through the doll,
Oh,
dealing with her problems with her stepdad.
like a
right?
twisted version
That's
of
one
Matilda.
interpretation.
Mhm.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
or the dark
Uh,
phoenix?
Or the dark. She's the
And-
dark phoenix.
But that again is one of the cool things about this is it gives you all these different avenues you can go down that all are perfectly plausible because the
Mhm.
story is just like weird doll starts talking to the dude and he freaks out about it. Like I love he throws it across the room just as the mom comes down the stairs and all she does is look at him like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
And he's like, it talked
This
to
doll wasn't cheap.
Yeah. I had to put it on the account.
We're still paying for it.
4 installments of $899.99 or whatever. That's too many nines. You know
so
what I
many
mean?
nines.
That's an extra 9 there.
Well, I was trying to think quickly how much money something expensive would be in 1963. All right, 15
I mean, it
bucks.
probably-
4 payments of
Yeah,
15
it probably was
bucks.
like $20 or something, but that's a
Yeah.
lot back then.
That's a lot back. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we've mentioned this. We've done the show before. We've talked about it, but I want to know, Amy, are you gonna watch some more Twilight Zone?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch more Twilight Zone. It's so spooky and wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Audie?
so good.
Oh, it is. Audie, how about you?
Yeah, I'll probably watch some more at some point. I can't say when, but yeah.
Steven?
Oh, it's happening, Travis. Not only that, I really, after this episode, I was like, I bet my boy would love this. Like, I bet he would. He's really into scary stuff. Like, it's his favorite thing. He might be afraid to go up this upstairs by himself, but he loves it,
Yeah.
So
Well,
I might,
that was gonna be my next question to you and to Audie is
Mhm.
as parents, at what age do you think you would be showing your kids old episodes of Twilight Zone like this?
But it completely
I mean,
depends
these-
on the kid. In my mind,
Mhm.
like every kid's going to be
Mhm.
different. There's no parenting
Sure.
books are stupid. Read it and then throw it in the fire and then do what you think is right. But like really, Sam's 8.5. I think he could handle a few the episodes I've watched. He could handle. He'd be bored during the Santa one. He would probably
Yeah.
like this one. Um, but I guess it would have to be. I have to take a look at the episode first to decide. Like, is this one overboard?
For sure.
Because every kid's got their own scary trigger. I mean, I'm an adult.
Oh yeah.
And I have things that I enjoy that are scary, like the Evil Dead franchise and stuff, and things that I won't watch that are scary, like Hereditary and whatnot. Like, not going there. So everybody's got their spectrum. I think depends on the episode, but I'd show Sam stuff now probably.
Okay. And Audie, your kids are probably still a little too young to really,
Well, I
even with
mean,
the older episodes.
The older boys are both 9.
Oh,
Yeah, they wouldn't. I wouldn't show it to them. They couldn't. They are easily triggered, so I wouldn't do it. My youngest, who's 7, he could probably handle it. I mean, he picked a Five Nights at Freddy's character to go as Halloween, so I think it's okay.
Oh, that's
See,
too scary
Nice.
for me.
That's what I'm saying. Like, kids are weird, man.
Kids
You can
are
have a
weird.
12-year-old
Oh,
that can't
yeah.
watch it and an 8-year-old that could totally watch it. Just
And
age
they're
is such
different.
a
All the
random
kids are different.
right.
Yeah.
Age is a very bad metric for most child
Yes.
things because it really isn't about age. It's a broad generalization. I think it's the same
yeah,
thing.
that's true.
I could never mind. I'm about to get triggered and go on a rant about
We'll save that. We'll save
yeah
that for
some other
after-
day.
after
We're
we
bringing
finish.
back horseshoes and hand grenades on Thursday. Maybe I can yell about it then.
There you go.
Yeah.
Um,
Slipped in
so
a
yeah,
promo.
that
Did you
is-
catch that? Whoa!
It's
Bam.
really good. It's really good.
that
Really
was
proud
the
of you.
Living Doll episode of Twilight Zone. It was perfect for our spooky month. Our spooky month of one episode.
Yeah, right. Sorry for the lack of episodes there.
It happens. Spooky season this year is a single episode, but we're going to start doing some holiday stuff over the next couple of months. We've got, with the upcoming U.S. holidays, that's what we're going to be covering. So a lot of sort of holiday centered. It doesn't have to be Thanksgiving itself, but we're gonna do that. I guess,
we stretch these topics.
Yeah, and we're
Yeah.
gonna stretch them again.
Yeah.
I can't wait to
so
do the
that'll-
Labor Day episode of I Love Lucy this month. It's gonna be exciting.
Mhm. And I mean,
so-
TV did that anyway. Sometimes they got a Thanksgiving episode. Sometimes they got a Christmas episode.
Yeah, it
So
just
Yeah.
Yeah,
depends on how the writers felt
yeah,
that year.
that's true.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And when the show was, like when
Yep.
when it would air.
Right.
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 Yeah. The break at holidays is always up in the air.
Yep. So you'll be getting to hear us chat more about holiday episodes coming up. I don't think we had any feedback, but it's been a couple of weeks since we had a show, so that happens.
Oh, we did
did
get
have-
a YouTube comment on our American
did.
Gladiators episode asking us any of us watched the 30 for 30 of the American Gladiators. I know we talked about it. Did anybody actually watch it?
No.
I haven't watched the 30 for 30. I've been watching here and there sporadically the Netflix documentary
Oh,
about it,
cool.
which does. I don't know if the ESPN one. I think it only interviewed certain people. This one interviewed a lot of the gladiators themselves about a lot of stuff that was going on, and it's fascinating. Some of the
Yeah.
behind the scenes stuff and some of what they did. Like those guys got paid almost nothing at the start.
Mm-hmm.
And we mentioned, I know we mentioned in the show how they started off in like an equestrian arena,
Yeah, smelled
Yeah.
like manure.
and by their second season they literally had a arena built for them. That's how popular the show got. So it's fascinating. I do want to watch the 30 for 30 one though, because I
Yeah,
heard that's very
sounds
good
cool.
as well.
Sounds cool. So yeah, that was the only feedback that I know of.
I
All right.
got a response on Instagram when I posted the artwork to begin with from a friend of the show, Nicole Spagnolo.
Hey,
Her comment was, "The show that my parents turned on so the intro music would make me run to bed."
Oh, that's perfect.
that's good.
That would work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I could see that.
If you-
Yeah.
I could totally see that working. If you were somebody who was spooked and you start hearing that music, that is
I'm out.
instantly identifiable music.
Gotta go.
Mhm.
Don't want nothing to do with this.
Excellent. Well, if you want to send us feedback, you can do that at thosedayshow@gmail.com.
Those were the days show
Uh,
at gmail.com.
You're right.
Those
Those were
were
the
the-
days show at gmail.com. On Twitter at those days show. I'm on social networks everywhere as TVsTravis. You can find me on any of them.
Mhm.
As at Audie's out there as the Audie Norman.
Mhm.
I'm
I
pretty
try
sure
to post
Amy.
about the show when we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Amy, you're Danny Ora in most places, right?
Yeah,
wherever
everywhere.
you have an account.
Mm-hmm.
And Steven, what are yours?
I'm
Is
Steve
it all-
H&H everywhere.
Okay, so
Yep.
perfect. So yeah, if you have any feedback, if let us know about your. Did you watch this specific episode of Twilight Zone? Do you remember it, or any episodes of Twilight Zone?
Was
did
your
you enjoy that?
stepfather murdered by a doll?
Ah, yeah. Fill us in.
We want to know.
We
Did
do
he have
want to
it
know.
coming like Eric did?
Details.
And also, let us know some of your favorite holiday episodes of old
Yes.
TV shows. Anything pre-2000. What's your favorite holiday episode? We want to hear that. I'd love the feedback to know those kinds of things.
Mhm.
So any of the social medias or those were the days show at gmail.com. You can send all your replies and responses there. But until next week, I guess Audie, you're taking the next episode, I think, or are we
Am I?
gonna just start back at the top of the rotation? We'll discuss that. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
We're gonna have a
Company
holiday
meeting.
episode for you,
Mhm.
so come back for that when we start holiday season.
In case you
Yeah.
wondered how
Until-
much we, procrastinate stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check the show notes. We'll try to come up with a decision before I publish the show. And then just,
There you
you got your podcast app right there? Just check that. If you're
Yeah.
watching on YouTube, check the description. We'll have what you need every time. I promise.
Yep.
Mhm.
But until then, for Audie, for Stephen, for Amy, I'm Travis, and remember to watch and enjoy your old shows. And I got no good outro for this because I just
You
did all my
better
work on
be
my intro.
nice to me.
I put all my effort into my intro,
It was good.
And,
It was
That was
very
really
good.
great.
and then
Amy, you
and
do
then
that
had
voice way
nothing.
too well.